نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. So this text called Nur Ul Idaah, Nur Ul Idaah, light of clarification, explanation, by Imam Shurumulali. A beautiful text in Hanafi fiqh. So today the topic is from Tahara, we're moving on. It's called Istinja. It's part of Tahara. It's very important. Istinja, Istinja. It means cleaning and cleansing the private part after answering the call of nature. Once someone has gone to answer the call of nature, they have to clean themselves. How do they do that? It is compulsory that there's no urine left, no drops there. And it is sunnah to perform istinja from any najasa that exists from the front or back passage of the private part and has not spread past the orifice. Remember, if it has not, the najasa came out and it hasn't spread around the opening, around the orifice, then you don't have to clean it because there's nothing there. Okay. But if it has become a bit like, soil, the area around it, then we come to that. Then it depends on the size of the najasa, how much area is being affected. If it is equivalent to the size of dirham or less than that, which is about 50p coin, then it is wajib to clean it. But if it's more than that, then it is fard. And you understand that there's a distinction between fard and wajib, as we discussed in our introductory lessons on principles of fiqh, which are available. It's good to just go through that if you haven't gone through that yet, because that would help you understand the terms and their ideas, inshallah ta'ala. So istinja is sunnah when the filth doesn't exceed the orifice. Wajib when it did exceed, but it is less than the size of a dirham. And it's fard when it has exceeded, but more than the size of a dirham, with 50p. For urine, one has to do istibra. And this istibra is mostly for men, given the fact that they have got longer urethra. So what happened when so we all have these sphincters. The sphincter is a band of muscle, smooth muscle, which, closes. So when we urinate, the urinary bladder, where the kidney would excrete out the urine and it gets collected there in that bladder, it continues to get swollen up. When it is full, it causes and sends the signal to the spinal cord from the nerves, and from there to the brain, and brain realizes, I need to release it. You feel the pressure. You have to release it. When you release the sphincter, both the sphincters, internal and external, the voluntary and involuntary, the internal one is involuntary, the external one is voluntary, then you just get the both sphincters open, both doors open, urine would come out. With, you can hold it for a certain time, but you can't hold it all the time. That is why you have to sometimes be in emergency. So when you have answered the call of nature, then what would happen? Women having short urethra, they wouldn't have that problem. It just comes out and there's no path to tread for the last few drops. So remember, the first, in that tube, we call it urethra, the first sphincter closes, the second one closes, but what about the path? It has to travel that path, even if it's few centimeters, 2, 3, 4, however long is that urethra. It's coming from inside. It's longer than we could see outside. So that urine drop, one or two or few of those, would continue to travel from there. Once you have completed your urination, it has to come out from the front passage. So for young people, it is not as much a problem because they tend to have a stronger muscle and it is not laxed. It's easy to clear it. But for elderly, as soon as you move on to your late 40s and 50s, and it continues to get weaker and weaker and more lax. So then it takes longer for the last few drops to travel from the internal sphincter to the external sphincter path. So how to ensure that? So you have to just so once you've done it, ensure all the urine is out, you just squeeze it all out, last drop, nothing left. Then you let it free. Keeps either hanging there, standing there, walking, take a route outside and go back to the toilet, cough, maybe lie down if there was a place there. Obviously, it wouldn't be the case in the toilet generally. You can come out and lie in the bed. Gently pressing the private part, put a tissue underneath, brisk walk, jumping, do whatever, squatting, anything. You have to find out your way that would be most suited to ensure the last drop, 1 or 2, has come out. Give us a minute, 30 seconds, a nice walk outside and then going back. Once that last drop has been squeezed out, then you wash it if you want it to. Then that's done. Your heart must be contented with that. It's up to you. No one else can tell you what is better. When you feel that actually I have done it, then you have done it. And after that, if you've done it and then you keep getting whispered, there may be a drop coming out, then that's just a whisper from shaitan. Ignore it, forget about that. There's no leak. That's shaitan is trying to confuse you. Don't pay attention to that. And if some people have that waswasa coming all the time, then putting and sprinkling some water on the private area, on the garment as well, then the wetness would be, you could relate to. As soon as shaitan whispers you in your prayer, oh, I feel the wetness. Maybe the last drop wasn't out. It has just come out. Don't worry. Say that that was the sprinkle of the water that I did myself. You can ignore it. So shaitan would stop confusing you and, causing waswasa. Okay. And if you're sure that this wetness is not the sprinkled water, you have never done it, but you know that there's water, you know for sure afterward you verified it, then obviously then you have to wash it and do whatever. Now, to wash away whatever najasa is in the orifice whilst bathing to remove a state of major ritual impurity or menses or post-nasal bleeding, this is fard. You have to wash any najasa that is on the orifice, even though the najasa may be of a small quantity. The opening should be clean as well. It is sunnah to do istinja with a cleaning stone or the like of it, like tissue paper. But that should not be a paper which has a value, a respect. You can't use that. A tissue paper is made for this purpose, so you can use that. However, using the water is preferred. And the best is to combine the two. First, wiping with the stone or tissue, and then washing it. But both alone, either of the two is permissible and fine as well. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam praised, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually praised in the Quran, the people, the tribe of people live around Quba. Quba was the first masjid in that area. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam built that masjid after migration. The people there used to do something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فِيهِ رِجَالٌ يُحِبُّونَ أَن يَتَطَهَّرُوا وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُطَّهِّرِينَ. They were very pious, very purified people. They do a lot of purification. So Allah praised them. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then asked these people, what a special thing you do? They said, we use stone and then water. After answering the call of nature, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that is the reason. That is why you get, when you combine the two, you get the reward. So you're using a tissue and then water, you get a lot of reward, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. So if you're using a stone on the travel, then use 3 is mustahab, but you don't have to do 3. Could be more or less depending on when you feel that you've done the job. Now, istinja, for example, for men especially, if they have hanging testicles, means that especially happens in summer months related to winter months, that if they're hanging, then cleaning the back passage with a stone would be a problem, isn't it? Because if you go from behind to the front, from back to the front, you are going to cause that stone with the poo touching the testicles. So you should go from front to back first, so that the main stuff is out, and then coming from there to front, holding, making sure that you do not soil and defile the testicles. So this is how you should do. And if it's up not hanging, then it's okay. Then it's not going to be that lower. So remember that. Obviously, as you grow, these things will manifest very much more clearly. For young boys, it might not be as much relevant today, but in future it would be. But we have to go through the text, whatever is there in the text, we just go through it so that we become, aware. The women, they can start from the front to the back. Again, why? Because they do not want to defile their private part, which is obviously very easily defiled. Okay, so they can use water ideally. And today, it's not a big deal. We have got enough water to, use it for washing, alhamdulillah. You try to keep the middle finger a little bit up so that you can clear it very well. And ideally use 3 fingers. And women likewise do the same thing. And once you wash until they are satisfied that they have removed the particles, they've removed the stuff, and they have not got any smell left there, however much they could do. And making sure that you're not tightening your, lower passage. Because if you're doing it, you're not letting all the najasa out. Let it relax and then try to keep, it's so lax that you can clean it a little bit internally as well, little bit. Obviously, if you're fasting, don't do too deep because then water can go in and that will just nullify your fast. And inshallah ta'ala, we leave that there. Satar will cover next week, inshallah ta'ala. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And with that, we've finished the session. Jazakallahu khairan.